Good morning, everybody. Guten Morgen. Welcome back to the Bundesliga show, the Bundesliga fantasy show. We are tuning in for yet another delightful fantasy episode and recording with Rune. Good morning, Rune. How are you doing?
Very good, thanks. I watched some of the Leverkusen game last night. Another great win for them, and excited about the weekend. Whether they will clinch the title finally against Werder at home. I think that would be an emotional moment for them if that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Another late show from Leverkusen. When we were doing the prediction show, it was about roughly half time. So me and Mark were a little bit frustrated as West Ham were obviously bedding in, but great impact subs once more. Hoffman, who feels like he's not done anything for a while actually. So yeah, great impact from him. Really pleased to see him. And that header from Boniface was excellent. So yeah, another great step forwards for this Leverkusen side. And of course, what we're here for this morning is fantasy football action. So we'll get started with all those hints and tips ahead of match week 29 in a second's time. Before we do, if you can leave a thumbs up on the show, that'd be really appreciated. Love that. A couple of comments already coming in, so please don't be shy. Ask away all your questions, or if you've got any thoughts yourselves, just let us know. And of course, subscribe to the channel. Keep pushing us as much as you can before the end of the season. That would be very much appreciated. And of course, don't forget to check out Bulinews as well on X there at bulinews.com for all the excellent fantasy football articles and much, much more over there. Right then, Rune, we'll get kick-started straight away then. And obviously, we will start as per with defenders. So if you want to get us rolling with your budget pick for this week.
Yeah, and that's Bernardo from Bochum. Although Bochum have been in poor form and have conceded a lot of goals recently, and that has obviously affected Bernardo's numbers, but he's still done reasonably well overall, I think, especially given his low price. And if you look at his stats, he's getting a considerable amount of points from winning challenges in every game. It's actually quite impressive. Against both Köln and Darmstadt, he got 6 points from winning duels alone. And in the game before that, against Mainz, he got 8. So that's a lot. And if they can keep a clean sheet at some point and he gets that kind of point from winning duels, then he's probably going to get double digits. And who knows? They have a game against Heidenheim at home this weekend. They have a new coach, which may give them a boost. It's certainly a game they will be looking to win in order to get away from that relegation zone. So yeah, might be worth a shot at the back if you need someone cheap. My mid-price pick is Mohamed Simakan from Leipzig. And that's obviously because David Raum is suspended, and Simakan will most likely play out of position as a fullback as a result of Raum's suspension. And this should increase his chances of doing well from a fantasy perspective. And he's also just available for just 8.5 million this week as he's on sale. So doesn't quite have the same ceiling as Raum, and obviously will also not take set pieces, but still a quite good option, especially for the price. And then my premium pick is a rather cheap one this week, Christian Günther from Freiburg, who's been out injured for a large chunk of the season, but he's been back for a few weeks now and starting to look a bit like himself again, although he has been far from his old fantasy self. He's a true fantasy legend, Christian Günther, and in other seasons he's been a regular in almost every fantasy team. That hasn't been the case this season, but maybe with looking at Freiburg's schedule for the rest of the season, he might be worth a shot now. It's a good time to get him at least. They're facing Darmstadt this week, and then they have a really nice run of fixtures for the rest of the season. And he did pick up an assist in Freiburg's loss to Leipzig last week. So yeah, seems like good timing to get him now. Especially, I mean, against Darmstadt, can't go that wrong, I think, for Freiburg and Günther.
Yeah, you'd like to think so. Yeah, great stuff. Thank you for that, Rune. Let's just quickly jump into the comments, see if we've got any defender-based questions. I think it looks like we do. But yeah, good morning to everyone that's watching. Thank you for tuning in so far. Good morning, Brian. Question in from Mr. Fleckens75. Best replacement for Raum this week. Sideways to a Leipzig defender, or is it Alphonso Davies worth investing in? Well, could be a sideways punt with obviously Simakon. If you've got enough funds to go for Gunter, also obviously an option there. Anyone else that we're thinking as a Raum replacement, Rune?
Well, yeah. Now I don't know which back line you have, so I don't know the players you already have. But I mean, like Mittelstedt has been amazing for weeks. Also very difficult to look past at the moment. I think Madsen has not been that good fantasy-wise lately, but we've seen earlier this season what kind of potential he has, and I think the fixture against Gladbach is pretty good for him as well. Regarding Davies, no, I would not get him. I mean, he's just not playing up to the standards we expect from him at the moment. It's not just not just technically, but also I think in terms of his mentality, doesn't look like he's really there. I think at the moment, not at the point that Bayern need him to be. So I could see him getting benched this weekend. And actually, Kicker has suggested that Masraoui could come in at left back because Davies is suspended against Arsenal anyway, and Bayern need a replacement for him there. And I mean, the most obvious replacement would be Guerrero, but he doesn't have the same kind of pace as Masraoui has, and then you get that kind of pace against Arsenal. So maybe Tuchel will use this game to get Masraoui in and test him at left back. He's been out for a while. Maybe it's a good way of like seeing what he can do, what kind of condition he's in. So he might get the nod at left back. It's obviously a big chance to take to get Masraoui, but just wanted to mention it that it's a possibility. Wouldn't get Davies at least.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's been so heavily linked with that move away from the club, hasn't he? That one wonders how much longer, how many more games he has in a Bayern shirt left in his career. So yeah, really good question there. One question in from Majid saying, do we think that Frimpong will be rotated this week? If so, best replacement. Frimpong started in a more advanced position last night ahead of Stanisic, Rune, and was brought off 60 odd minutes in. I don't know the exact, but I know Teller came on. It might have been actually someone else, actually. Regardless, obviously the Sunday match, the potential title-winning match with a 2-0 lead going to London, are we going to see lots of rotation, do we think? Or will Alonso just do what he's been doing in recent weeks and just cherry pick his way through?
I don't think we will see a lot of rotation. But yeah, just as Alonso has been doing for the past few weeks, just a few spots I think makes sense. Not sure if Frimpong will be rotated. As you said, Rory, he was taking off fairly early against West Ham, and they got a pretty good 2-goal advantage there. So should have a good chance of like finishing that job next week. And also, I think that kind of game where Leverkusen can steal the title will be a game that Frimpong will be pretty determined to play as well. So, I mean, he's been rotated out a few times, including last game in the Bundesliga. But that could also like indicate that he will not be given a break this time and that he will actually play this time. At least I feel this week it makes sense to have Frimpong in your back line, just in case he plays, because he has so much potential when they're playing Werder at home. That's a really, really good fixture. And if you're playing 3-4-3, then you have 4 alternatives at the back in case he doesn't play. So I'm personally going to get him in my side this week.
Excellent. Yeah, really good question there. One in from Jeff. So good morning to you, Jeff. If you don't already have Benjamin Hendricks, will it be a good weekend to add him in? So yeah, Rune, time to have Henriks as well. Obviously, probably the biggest Leipzig asset from a defensive point of view this weekend with no Raum.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, makes sense just to take out Raum for Henriks. That's a pretty straight replacement. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that, Jeff. We shall move on then to the midfielders, and they are now scrolling below at the bottom of your screen. And Rune, back over to you to walk us through your picks.
Yeah. Another Freiburg pick, Merlin Røhl, is my budget pick this week. Sure, they lost last time out to Leipzig. Wasn't the best performance by any means, but now they have a really good run of fixtures, as I said earlier. And Røhl has been a real breakout player for them this season. He's been doing really well in an attacking midfield role, and is expected to start against Darmstadt. Scored a great goal against Gladbach 2 weeks ago, got 15 points from that game, so showed a bit of what he can do there. And at the moment, when you're playing Darmstadt, there's just so much potential. I mean, Mainz of all teams scored 4 goals last week, so I mean, Freiburg should be able to get a few goals there as well. And I think with the price, he's just a very intriguing option if you're looking for someone not too expensive. Mid-price pick is Kevin Stöger, who is, I mean, he's still a really popular fantasy pick, high ownership, but I just wanted to mention him because sure, he's been a bit disappointing lately, but I think it makes sense to keep him at least for this weekend. He's the man Bochum rely on offensively, and I could see them putting in a better performance this week under their new coach. And he's been great at home generally this season. So yeah, makes sense to give him another shot, I think. And then finally, my premium pick is Vincenzo Grifo. He's actually been benched twice in a row, but I would be really surprised if he doesn't start against Darmstadt this time out. He made a real difference after coming off the bench against Leipzig. Also scored in that game, so should get the start this week. And I think it's a game that suits him well, where Freiburg will be on the ball a lot and try to dominate, and they will likely have quite a few set pieces that he'll take. He's also on penalties, and yeah, sure, he's not playing up to his best this season, but he's shown so many times just how his ceiling is. So I think this is a game that would make sense to get him in for.
Yeah, completely agree. You can see his total points is obviously just shy of the 200 marker so far this season in what has been, well, a tricky season for Freiburg. It's not been underwhelming because they've been overperforming in recent seasons, but versus obviously his points of last season, he's a little bit below that. Still got time to push up towards that figure as well, though. And that captures a question or two that was asked prior to the show. One from SBK11 is Grifo worth a punt as a differential? Well, as you can quite clearly see here, Pow, it's obviously the premium pick, and you can see his percentage on screen, just 2%. So yeah, very much worthwhile. I suspect that percentage will probably change a fair bit before obviously the Friday night fixture cutoff. Let's just double check anything else in the comments. One in from Timothy. So thanks for tuning in, Timothy. Asking, is it a good week to bring in Bester? Because of course, yeah, Bochum have that presentable fixture themselves, but Heidenheim will also be licking their lips, coming off excellent form and an excellent win. We were talking last night a little bit about Bayern. Bochum's cursed Bayern win. Hopefully, it's not the same way around for Heidenheim. And yeah, Bester is still producing the goods. Rune, another lovely cross and assist from for Kleindienst. He just is such a consistent performer, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's been so good this season. But I think it comes down to whether you trust Bochum more to get the win or you trust Heidenheim more to get the win. Because I wouldn't get both Stöger and Beste. I would probably just get one of them. And I personally lean towards Stöger just because of the importance for Bochum. I think there's a lot more at stake for them, given their position on the table. I also think they could get a bit of a push forward with their new coach in and everything. So I'll probably get Stöger instead, but with that said, it's a good game for Beste as well.
Yeah, agreed. Next question is from Majid. Thoughts on Musiala? And not entirely sure how well he played midweek. To be honest, he was sometimes on the outskirts of the match, I felt. But of course, still from a fantasy point of view, a really strong asset. What are you thinking for this weekend, Rune?
Yeah, I agree. He didn't have his best game against Arsenal by any means. I think other Bayern attackers performed much better than he did. Kind of disappeared for some spells of the game, I think. And I think it's interesting how much Tuchel wants to rotate this weekend, because, I mean, on the one hand, he needs to keep the team doing well and not take too many chances. They need to get a win there and keep their confidence high. But on the other hand, he doesn't want to risk too much, and especially not risk getting injuries to key players such as Sané and Coman. And there's also been some speculation as to whether he could give Musiala a break, especially because he hasn't been at his best recently. But I think you could also, I mean, put the argument forward that maybe Musiala needs a bit of confidence, and he could get that at home against FC Köln. Maybe just play 60-65 minutes. It's a good game for Bayern, and maybe one that they could give them some confidence. So I think he'll start, and makes sense to keep him. I think selling him ahead of this fixture would be too much of a risk.
Yeah, agreed. One in from Jeff as well. Mine's at home to Hoffenheim. Is it worth keeping a hold of Amiri for another week? Because, he was most impressive again last week. Couple of free kicks, nearly going straight in. Obviously, the headlines maybe going to some of the other players. Lee, obviously, for example, bagging a brace. So would you consider holding on to Amiri, Rune?
Yeah, I'm actually considering that as well. I'm thinking about whether to keep him or not. But I think the fact that he got 13 points last week, despite not being directly involved in a goal, says something about his potential. I mean, if you just gotten like one assist or even a goal, then he would have been up nearing the 20 mark. So obviously he has a lot of potential, and he is the type of role he has for Mainz is similar to the one Stöger has for Bochum. So in most games, I think he'll be doing really well, just because he's like the midfield linchpin and the taking all the set pieces, the guy that everyone will look to pass to when they need something special to happen, and that makes him a great fantasy player. So I think the matchup is pretty good as well. I think it will be a close game, and Mainz are in great form. So I think keeping him would make sense. I think depends on the alternatives, but I could imagine keeping him as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's move on to our last position of the show, which of course strikers, the big money earners. Rune, you can talk us through your budgets, mid-price, and premium picks again.
Yep, budget pick is Jonathan Burkhardt, who I was a bit disappointed that he only managed 7 points against Darmstadt. Only got an assist, and obviously when he's playing as a lone striker, and they score 4 goals, you expect him to be a bit more involved. But with that said, I think he's in great form at the moment, and he's playing in a lone striker role, and is Mainz penalty taker. They have some really good fixtures on the horizon as well still. So I think he's a pretty good option for the price. And if you need a budget pick up front, I think he's the only guy really worth considering at the moment. So yeah, mid-price pick is Dennis Undav. Just wanted to mention him because I think he's a pretty good alternative to Serhou Guirassy if you want someone different, if you want to differentiate yourself a bit from all the teams with Guirassy. I think Undav can have weeks where he outscores his striker colleague. Can also happen both, of course. But yeah, just he's having an amazing season, and his ownership isn't that high actually, all things considered. But he has a lot of competition, of course, with all the other good options up front. And then finally, Victor Boniface is my premium pick, and he's actually a really interesting differential this week. I watched the press conference with Alonso ahead of the West Ham game, and he said that Boniface is ready to start again after a spell on the sidelines. Didn't start against West Ham, but he did come on to score. So I think it makes sense to give him a start this time against Werder at home. And that's a really good fixture for Leverkusen. And yeah, I think Boniface is the sort of guy who's not really. He seems to be have a strong mentality and not care too much about the importance of a game. He's just doing his best every time and being pretty unfazed by his surroundings. So I think it's a good game for him as well. It makes sense to start him there, and I fully expect him to play from the start. And his ownership is down to 2%, so a really, really good differential this week.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll be riding the crest of a wave after his performance or goal last night, as we alluded to. So yeah, it could be, well, it all looks and points to be an absolutely fantastic Sunday afternoon. Let's hope that it doesn't now not produce the goods. Everyone, I'm sure, will be tuning in. That obviously viewers of the Bundesliga and viewers of this channel, which is excellent. So thank you for that, Rune. Don't think there's any questions or comments. Oh no, we've got one in from Majid. He's saved us, so thank you very much. So I'll just bring this up on screen for you. Who would you pick out of Boniface and Guirassy?
Yeah, probably still
that, isn't it?
Probably still Guirassy. Depends on whether you want to play safe or take a risk. Depends on your position in the game. Boniface is a differential, whereas Guirassy is a template pick who most players have at the moment. So, I mean, it's if you sell him, then it's a risk, but could also pay off if for some reason Guirassy has a quiet game. I don't expect him to. Usually doesn't have quiet games, but who knows? Boniface is certainly a great alternative this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, some interesting thoughts around forwards this weekend for sure. Interesting question from Jeff. Best bets for clean sheets. Which 3 clubs this week will keep clean sheets? Well, just we're thinking off the top of our heads. Well, I mean, in theory, Bayern have a chance because Köln are absolutely bereft of scoring goals this entire season, plus the blow dealt to them in regards to Davy Selke. Who else has a chance? I guess we have Freiburg have a decent chance, although their defence was, went missing last week against Leipzig, didn't it? So they'll be expecting and hoping for a much better performance. Anyone off the top of your head, Rune, that might keep a clean sheet?
I think the Mainz defense has been looking pretty good lately. They've actually been keeping a lot of clean sheets. I know they conceded 8 against Bayern, but apart from that game, they've actually looked pretty solid at the back. Not sure about this week, though. Hoffenheim looked pretty dangerous on the attack last week. But Sentner has been pretty good lately. I think Leverkusen, if you didn't mention them, I can't remember if you did.
Didn't mention them.
It's a good clean sheet pick as well. I think Werder have a lot of problems creating chances and scoring goals. I mean, Jinma is out injured, so not too worried about Dick Voldemade, to be honest. So yeah, another good shout, I think.
Yeah, so hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea, Jeff. I suppose a plus as well for Stuttgart is having Anton back from suspension. That'll hopefully release Stiller to play in his usual position. So yeah, that will help. I'm not saying that Stuttgart will keep a clean sheet, mind, because I don't want to jinx it. But yeah, good question there, Jeff. And one last question from Majid: is it safe? Start or safe to keep Kane? Is he going to keep his place? Is he going to be rotated out at all?
Yeah, I think that's safe, fully safe.
Excellent stuff. Yeah, Kane will. Well, he'll be gunning for records regardless of what happens at the end of the season, and yeah, be highly motivated. So yeah, very interested to see what team Tuchel puts out. I know some people have suggested there'll be change, others less so, obviously because he has a job to do still. So yeah, really interested to see how all of it goes. Really looking forward to it. Obviously, we're getting kick-started tonight, and then another excellent Bundesliga weekend of action to enjoy for one and all. So yeah, that'll bring us to a close today, this morning. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in whilst we've been live. Excellent questions, excellent contributions from everyone, so really appreciate it. And obviously, thank you to Rune, as always, for his input and insight. So all that is left to say is, again, if you can leave a thumbs up on the show, that'd be really appreciated. Thank you very much. If you're not watching the show live, by all means, leave a comment. As per myself and Rune will triage where we can do and try and pick up any responses before the Friday night game kicks off. And press that red button and subscribe. Still loads to go this season with content. Some more watch-alongs will be coming. We haven't done one of those for a long while, so we'll be looking to do those, especially for the run-in and European games. Mark and Peter will be going out and doing some more vlogs. And of course, all the usual. So make sure you subscribe and don't miss out, and share alike with friends and family. But yeah, thank you to everyone for tuning in this morning, and we'll catch you next time.